If you're interested in learning how I launched ZimExcellence, then you're in luck. Sign up for my podcast workshop and learn how it's easier and more affordable than ever to start a podcast. Also, grab yourself a copy of my podcast resource guide, which covers industry terminology, suggested tech setup, in addition to countless free online resources to support your podcast journey. Just head to wongai.com/podcast creation. That's wongai.com/podcast creation. The link will also be down in the show notes. Now, let's start the show. Yo, welcome to the party. Hello, makadini salibonani. My name is Wongai, and you're listening to ZimExcellence, a weekly celebration of Zimbabwe's changemakers and trailblazers. So here's the secret, y'all. Zimbabweans are actually dope AF, and it's just time that we recognize it. So grab yourself a plate of sadza and grab that stony ginger beer, and let the party begin. I'm back, and welcome to this special series of ZimExcellence episodes celebrating the film Rise. How y'all doing? Okay, I hope you're well, thriving, and surviving. I'm hanging in there myself. Anyway, let's get into it. On June 8th, 2025, I had the pleasure of attending the world premiere of the short film Rise at Tribeca Film Festival, aka my favorite film festival in the world. Why is this special? Well, Rise marks the first Zimbabwean film to screen at the festival, which, by the way, is an Oscar qualifying festival. If you know, you know. I was also fortunate to then be invited to a celebratory lunch with the New York-based Zimbabwean community, and honestly, it was really, really cool being in a space with Zimbabweans who aren't necessarily a part of the entertainment industry, but came out to support. They were open, they asked questions, and left with a little bit more insight than they came in with. Back to the film. It is inspired by the life of Tobias Mupfuti. The film is written and directed by Jessica J Rowlands, no relationship to Kelly, executive produced by friend to the show, Mr. Joe Njagu. It also stars Mr. Tongayi Chirisa, and introducing newcomer to the big screen, Sikhanyiso Ngwenya. I may also refer to him as Ska throughout this episode. Okay, without giving too much about what it's about. Okay, what's this film about? Why we gotta see this film? Okay, without giving too much about what it's about, here's the log line. A charismatic young boy who lives on a rubbish dump in Zimbabwe convinces a reclusive boxing coach to teach him to fight in a world that has left him behind. Sit with that. Sit with that image. Anyway, on to my thoughts. The film is absolutely heartwarming. The shots captured by Jacques Naudé are stunning. I don't think I've ever seen Zimbabwe captured or depicted in the way that it was on screen. There are beautiful shots of Victoria Falls, Harare, and just like Zimbabwe's landscape in general. Honestly, you could press pause at any time, and press pause on the film at any time, and the images are like so beautiful, like they're like paintings, but they also tell such a clear visual story. It warmed my heart knowing that it was shot on location in Zimbabwe, and not only boosted the local economy, but it created opportunities for local talent. It was also inspiring to hear about the audition process that took part in Binga, Hwange, and Victoria Falls. This film, which is a short film, it has a runtime of 22 minutes. It's screened in the Hopes and Dreams block of short films. For context, I believe there were 6,000 short films submitted to Tribeca, and only 19 were accepted. And Rise was one of, I believe, 6 in this specific block, which just chew on that information so that you can understand just how big of a deal this is and just how big of a feat and an accomplishment this is. Like, I starred in a film, we're not going to talk about it, many years ago that was submitted to festivals like Tribeca and Sundance, and it never got in. Rise did, which should tell you just and speak to the quality and just how good the filmmaking is in this film. Anyway, not to go off on a tangent. This film screened in the Hopes and Dreams block of short films. It is definitely a film about hopes, dreams, fighting, and never giving up. This coming-of-age story is inspirational. It features beautiful music and beautiful vocals from the Hope Masike. It's written well. It just paces well. That it never feels like it's going too slow. The on-screen, a lot of you are probably like, Tongayi, where is all of this film stuff coming from? Is this the actor in you? Just a reminder, y'all, I have a film degree. So I used to write about films at university for my assignments. So this is just like who I am. Anyway, back on track. The on-screen chemistry between Tongayi and Sika was absolutely endearing. Like, and despite being a film about adversity, this film has a lot of heart and it is so funny. Like, the film screened at the end of, like I said, maybe 6 total films in that block. And there were just so many moments of laughter, applause, ahs and gasps, and just general engagement and audience participation. It is a very powerful film. And I know and believe that this film is going to go very, very far. So I would like to take the opportunity to say, Makorokoto amshlope. Congratulations to the cast, crew, and creative and supporters behind this film. This is just the beginning of many, many more moments on this film festival run. I truly believe it. And honestly, this might also be the beginning of a very promising career for Sikhanyiso Ngwenya, who earlier this year made history as the youngest actor to ever win a NAMA award for his role in this film. And for those of you wondering, Tongayi, what is a NAMA award? Think of it as, because Zimbabwe is a small country, this is like Zimbabwe's Grammys, Emmys, NAACP Image Award, BAFTAs, and Oscars, all wrapped up in one. And listen, what I'm about to share with you is very wild, but I'm not making it up. This, in fact, did happen. After the Tribeca screening, we were waiting outside before we ventured off to go to lunch at Casa Brazilian restaurant, which absolutely amazing. Go check it out if you're ever in New York, Tribeca area. And so we were waiting outside to make sure, like, our little congregation of New York-based Zimbabweans, East Coast-based Zimbabweans, and the people who flew in for the screening, friends and family, were all ready so that we could walk down the street together. And I kid you not, there were lines of people who are parts of other films that screened, and also just general audience members, again, lining up to ask Sika's mom, who's flown in, if they could all take selfies with him. This boy is, I believe, 10 years old now. I'll have to re-listen to my interviews later. But yeah, this is the wildest thing ever. Like people being like tapping her on the shoulder or walking up to her being like, is it okay if can we have a selfie with him? Is it like the wildest thing I've ever seen? Like I felt like I was witnessing the rise of a child star in real time. And I'm like turning around to Joe and his mom and whoever was there at the time to be like, y'all, they taking selfies with him. Just so you know, just let's get a handle on this. And also, if they're going to take selfies, they might as well tag at rise.zimbabwe. Get the promo out. Anyway, this is me going off on a tangent. Back on track. I feel like this moment, this screening, this film existing in the world has redefined what is possible for the Zimbabwean industry and filmmaking on the African continent in general. There are, and this moment is a reminder that there are a lot of beautiful voices and untold stories just waiting to be shared. This is truly an inspiring film that is going to bring us together, and it is art that deserves to be seen right now more than ever. So let me know when the Kickstarter goes out for the feature film. It needs to be made. Let's get it made. Again, congratulations to everyone involved. I will keep, on the lookout for whenever they're going to screen next, because it screened 3 times at Tribeca. Whenever they're going to screen anywhere else in the world so that the listeners can get their tickets and go watch and attend. But coming up in the special series of episodes, I will be sharing the audience reactions and also conversations that I was fortunate to have with some of the creative team. If you are over on Instagram or Threads, over at ZimExcellence podcast, I'm posting videos and cute little recaps. So if you also want to check that out, it's going to be a different experience to what I'm offering here on the podcast. The podcast is going to be very long form, more extended. But yeah, thanks for listening to this episode. I will check you out on the next one. Till then, stay safe and bless up. Thank y'all so much for coming to the party. Majita tatenda siyabonga. Nah, for real. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of ZimExcellence. If you found value from this episode, please share it with a friend and go ahead and subscribe, rate, and review. If you send me a screenshot of your review, I'll make sure to give you a shout out on future episodes. Feel free to tag us on Instagram at ZimExcellence Podcast. And if you identify as Zimbabwean, I want to hear your story. So go ahead and email zimexcellencepodcast@gmail.com. Till then, have the best week and stay Zim excellent.